Monday morning. Joe Gillespie in the hot seat here on WBT. It is a very special, it is a very, very special day.
Is that God hates pride. He loves humility. All the way through the scriptures, pride is listed as one of the greatest of all sins. The scripture says in Proverbs 17, and he that exalteth his gate seeketh destruction. Obadiah 4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, I will bring you down, saith the Lord. Now Belshazzar was young, egotistical, filled with pride, and filled with his own self-importance. And Jesus was to say years later in Matthew 23, and whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased.
Had to hear a little bit of Dr. Graham. It's his birthday today, 98 years old, Billy Graham. Never saw him in person, and never attended one of the crusades, and of course he was never on television for years, and he was on the radio, I think, every Sunday night. I think it was called the Hour of Power, and he was an amazing, powerful guy, confidant of presidents, and we found out today that Congressman Pittenger sent out a statement wishing Dr. Graham a birthday and saying that his most memorable experience with Billy Graham was serving as his caddy during the Pro-Am of the Byron Nelson Classic in 1971 when Dr. Graham played with Byron Nelson, Bob Hope, and Arnold Palmer. And then later, Pittenger said he worked with Dr. Graham and his team on many occasions while serving as assistant to Dr. Bill Bright, then president of Campus Crusades. When we talked to Franklin Graham a couple of weeks ago and asked him about his father, and said he was in pretty good shape. You know, he couldn't hear very well, couldn't see very well, seemed to be pretty good of his mind. He's, you know, still living in the home, I guess, of Montreat. And if you've been to the museum, have you been out to the museum? It's interesting. They do a nice job. They really do some from interesting scenes in there, and you know, quite a life, quite an interesting fella. And never got to meet him, never got to hear him in person. And always the end was fascinating. At the end of the Crusades, the end of the service, they would have the altar call, and thousands of people would come forward. Of course, he had a big influence in our town. I think where Park Road Shopping Center isn't that where originally the farm was? The original the family in that area? Yeah. I think so. So, happy birthday, Dr. Graham. Would love to see what he'd make of this election. Obviously, he'd have some interesting thoughts.